Stop thinking about yourself and think about other people, and everything will be fine. And the reality is most of the problems we have as human beings is because we're thinking about ourselves and not thinking about other people. So service regardless of opportunity is think about other people.
So we've brought Cleve on the show with us. So Cleve, if we get into any more things, please give us a little bit of an intro.
Hey, Justin, thanks a lot. I am based in North Atlanta. My family's been in real estate for 30 years. I've been in real estate for about 20 years myself. I run a small team. It's a 6-person team. I have 3 or 4 administrative people, including one who helps us make lots of phone calls through REDX. And we do, let's just call it 180 to 200 deals a year. So if anybody's out there, once the market gets back to normal, if you have anybody moving to Atlanta, I'd love them to remember the name Cleve. Just remember it's short for Cleveland. So it's Cleveland Gaddis, and my nickname is Cleve. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to it. But the reality is there are certain people who need to move. And so the coronavirus cannot stop people who need to relocate for a job or whatever it is. What makes people move has nothing to do with whether or not real estate agents can do business. What makes people move is life changes and marriages and divorces and kids and college and new jobs and unfortunately deaths in the family, all those kind of things. And I'm not trying to take that lightly. I'm just trying to say that the only way to shut the real estate business down would be for the things to stop happening that happen that make people need to move. Somebody has to help them, and we don't need to put ourselves in harm's way, but we need to make sure that we can help. In the absence of leadership, the world tends to believe the worst in negative situations. In the absence of leadership, the world tends to believe the worst in negative situations, which means if we leave people alone, their default position will tend to believe the worst in negative situations. And it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because they're lazy, or it's not because they're negative. It's because thinking the worst is easier. Stop thinking about yourself and think about other people, and everything will be fine. And the reality is most of the problems we have as human beings is because we're thinking about ourselves and not thinking about other people. So service regardless of opportunity is think about other people. Before the crash, we used the letters SBO, which is serve or service before opportunity, which said basically if you genuinely serve someone and you serve them without any obligation for them to do something, then there will be plenty of opportunity. But it still had the serve before opportunity, which means you expected opportunity to come. And so as soon as the you-know-what started to hit the fan, and we knew this was going to be a bigger deal, we decided we needed to make a substitution. And so we swapped out the B for an R. And so now we're promoting SRO, which is serve or service regardless of opportunity. We're not trying to be calculating in our conversations with them. We're not trying to put in their mind that they should or should not continue with something. We're just trying to be open and transparent and have as many conversations as we possibly can. And in some cases, we're changing the requirements for showings. And in some cases, people have decided to take their house off the market and put it back on in a few weeks from now or a month from now. We've certainly been supportive of them in whatever they want to do. We're as supportive of them within our ability to do that as we can be. I talked to a person who is from about an hour north of Manhattan, and they're doing online open houses via Zoom. So they have the seller have their camera, and they do a Zoom walkthrough, and they invite all of the agents, the buyer's agents and their buyers, to get on a Zoom call together. They figure out how to hide people's names so people can't tell who's on there, and they let the seller do this walkthrough. And I gave you a story from New York, but I also heard the same thing from Michigan last week. And I think they had 5 or 6 offers on a home that nobody has ever physically been in but the seller. Down here, we can still do an open house, and if we do one, we just let people go in one at a time. We keep our distance. When we do showings down here, we go in and we wipe down everything in the home, and we open every door. Meaning, Justin, if you and I were to go in and look at a home, I would tell you, here's the rules. Number 1, no kids. You can come in with your wife if you want to. Don't touch anything. And when I say don't touch anything, you put booties on your shoes and don't touch a thing in the world, because we go through with our Clorox wipes and our gloves, and we open all the doors. So like we'll open the garage door and the door to the outside and the back door and everything. So you just walk through and take a look. So in some markets, listing services are starting to allow digital or virtual open houses. So they'll allow you to advertise them that way. So let's say you got a hot property, it comes on the market. In the private comments, it says, we're doing an open house this Saturday, and every buyer who wants to look at it, as long as they're with their buyer's agent, just log on to this Zoom. Here's how you get there. And then the listing agent is not even at the home, because in Michigan and New York, they're not supposed to go there. So the seller does the Zoom tour on their phone, because when you have Zoom on your phone, you can turn the camera around, and so you can actually do a FaceTime video and turn the camera around, and the seller just walks through at the instruction of the agent. So the agent is guiding the tour and talking about it, so the seller doesn't put their foot in their mouth or say something they shouldn't.
That's awesome.
And they're just guiding the process. When you get somebody who has some interest, the next logical step is a face-to-face meeting, meaning you can't move that transaction forward unless you can actually get face-to-face with them. Well, the problem is that physically we might not want to get face-to-face with them, or it could be that they live in Texas and I'm in Atlanta. So the next best way to get face-to-face with them is on a Zoom meeting or GoToMeeting or Join.me or whatever it is. And so when you get face-to-face with somebody, then you start the process of moving the sale forward. But there are those who really need to buy or sell, and what we're doing is we're letting them proceed doing that with the procedures we have in place to be safe through smart showings, virtual services, and more. And so number one, feed yourself some good positive information to get you going for the day. And number two, have a routine. Get up, brush your teeth, take a shower, comb your hair, put your clothes on and go to work. But if I was an individual agent out there working, I would probably try to create some sort of mastermind. I'd try to find 3 or 4 other agents in my area or outside of the area who were doing similar things that I was doing, and I'd probably have 2 or 3 awareness calls every week. Not an accountability call, but awareness. What are we doing? What do we say we're going to do? How are we performing? Sharing ideas, sharing best practices. I might even say, let's have ourselves a happy hour once a week where we just get on the phone and just talk about nothing and just socialize, because we need that. I mean, we're meant to be social animals. So I think if people are out there and feeling alone, I think you need to find some other people you can help through some role playing and some scripting and things like that, and have some fun. And I think if you do that, eventually your lonely feelings will go away. In fact, if anybody decides, Justin, that they actually like the help that you provide, trust me, you will not be lonely, because they will ask you for it over and over and over again, which during this time might make you feel really good anyway. But the reality is I need to stay focused, because I got to do it for myself and I got to do it for my family. And it's really the only choice I have. They are going to remember who called them in a difficult time, and they're going to want to use somebody who cared about them.